Alright, hello everyone. This is just a rebuild of me basically doing some maintenance on my reels. This is a Fathom 2 speed, and what I'm pointing to there is the pinion bearing. I've pulled the erases of the bearing, and usually if you don't tear down your reels after every trip, you want to pack this with some grease. Okay, so I just dropped in the main gear assembly and the stem. This is basically held in place by a C-clip, a retaining clip, so you can see I'm just putting that on there, and once it clips on, that will hold it in place. Alright, the shifting mechanism in this works with all of Penn's 2 speeds. Alright, so first thing that goes into the stem there is a small spring, and then followed by a plastic nub. That nub needs to go in after, otherwise it won't engage. Right, so spring first and then the nub. Right, so that's just a spacer and then the handle, and after that there's a nut, and then the clip that holds the nut together that stops it from backing out. What you want to do is pay heed to tightening it. Make a note of the original position of the nut when you take it off, and mark it, because there's a circle, a little hole that holds it in place at the base of the clip, as you can see there. So you just want to align that, and once that's done, you get into the shifter. So there's a tiny C-clip here. Do not lose this when you're doing it, when you're taking it off, because they're very easy to lose and they kind of fly all over the place. Alright, so you're gonna put that on. Alright, so you see that spins freely. The second part of the shifter, once it goes on, sometimes you'll find it not going down fully. The clips go down in this way, so just follow the alignment and turn it until it pops down. And there it goes. After this is a retaining clip, and that just simply holds it in place and stops it from falling off. Try not to abuse it too much, because it is light metal and it can be bent easily, so try to minimize bending as much as possible. Okay, so once that's on, that is basically it. You just have the shifter button and the shifting ring. Right, so that will engage there, and you just screw this on, and you will need to use your pen wrench that came with the reel in order to hold it, because it does turn, so you need to hold it in place while you're tightening it down. I tighten it by hand usually. I really don't need pliers, because I've never found it coming loose after I've done it by hand, so yeah, just get a cloth and just tighten it down. Also use a cloth when you're taking it off. The first time I did this and I didn't, and you can see some of the paint actually came off of the ring there. So alright, so just testing it, you can see we're shifting in and out of gear. Alright, no problem. Okay, so once at this point we're gonna have the pinion gear assembly, and this is mated to the anti-reverse assembly, and you need to be very careful with this. Those are the two posts that the two dogs, the mechanical dogs, go on to, and as you can see, they are not spring loaded. They are friction dogs, and they have those brass looking things that's gripping onto the ratchets are basically very easily bent, and once they're bent, they will not engage, because they need to be gripping the ratchet very tightly. So what I do is I do not take it off. They need to be on the ratchet in order to install them, and you just shift them into place easily with like tweezers, just very carefully, and let it drop down. Always maintain the right side plate in this upright position where gravity is not pulling it out, so it's not dropping down, because it will bend the spring, so you need to be careful. Just use a very light amount of grease on this, and otherwise, again, you probably won't get engagement if you use oil or anything too slippery. So here you can see we're engaging. They are double dogs, and they are synced, so you get not as much backplay as possible. Right, there's 2 screws that hold this in, so once you get that in, fairly simple. Alright, so after this comes the drag plate. Right, one side is cupped and the other side is flat. The flat side goes against the drag plate. Right, and then there's your retaining ring. It takes a little bit of effort, but it just snaps on. And that's basically a right plate assembly. Again, do not turn this over as much. Keep it at least in an upright position or in a vertical position. Do not have that drag plate facing downward at any time because it will pull the dog springs and bend it out of alignment. Right, once it goes in like that, you're safe because it's supported by the spool. Right, screws goes into the housing. And finally, after this, we'll just be doing the lever drag assembly. Alright, so you can see I kind of put everything in a box cover because you don't want to lose any of these little parts. Alright, that's just the drag preset knob. There's nothing fancy to that. You don't really need to do any servicing to that. Alright, so this is the cam. Right, you can see Penn used a very nice cam. It's very steep cam because there are 3 positions on this reel. There's free, there's strike, there's full, and there's sunset. Sunset is the reason for that very steep drag. Alright, there's a small spring on the handle. Don't lose that, otherwise you won't get any clicking. It's not critical, but you know, it's nice to have that. Alright, so once you get this on it, you need to align it with the cam. There's 2 grooves at the bottom of the cam, and you just pop it in and turn the handle a little bit until it drops down. And you can just give it a tap and it'll set. Right, so it's holding there. And once that's done, you just want to take your preset knob and align. You see there's 2 notches on the cam and 2 notches on the preset knob. Try to align that and just get it screwed in. Alright, and you hear that sound? That's you just finishing up your reel. So, engages, drops in on gear, drops out of gear. Alright, free spool. So that's pretty much it.